I'm officially starting. Thank you for being here. So we're going to go through some Qigongs and some meditation to work with immunity, to work with the lungs, and that kind of thing. And I think to start with, we're going to work with a little bit of spinal mobilization. So we'll start with swinging. Now, the reason that we're going to work with spinal mobilization is a pretty interesting thing. Back during the 1918 epidemic, the Spanish flu epidemic, which bears some striking resemblances to this one, those people that were treated by osteopathic manipulation had an incredibly high survival rate compared to those who weren't. So one of the things that the osteopaths noticed about that back in 1918, and they kept very careful records, was they had to get heat and mobilization to the spine, especially the upper back. So we're just going to start by mobilizing the whole spine. And this is just an easy swinging exercise that gets your hips going. You're going to stand with your feet parallel, a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Transfer your weight, swing your arms, but keep your head looking straight ahead. Don't swing your head, just your waist, your weight, your arms. Create some mobilization through the spine. All right, good. So now, you're going to stand wider and then start to bend forward, but keep your spine straight. Elongate your spine. I'm going to stand so that I'm at a 90-degree angle to the camera so you can kind of see the kind of spinal elongation you want. And just hold this position for a few minutes. Take some deep breaths. Deep, full breaths. Now, in order to show you this next part, I'm going to have my assistant Justin help me out. Justin, can you change the angle of the camera to point to this wall so people can see what I'm doing? Great. That looks good. So you want to get up against a wall, and then you're going to come down just like we were standing with your back straight, your hands on the wall, and you can keep your arms almost straight. And then you're going to actually flex your upper back. But we want to get the mobilization is in the upper back especially. So flexing the upper back in and out a little bit. Get that mobilization through them. It's also very good for your shoulders. All right, good. Hey, Justin, if you could swing that camera back. Now we're going to do a spinal stretch. And we're going to start at the top of the spine, and you're going to work down one vertebrae at a time. So feeling the very top of your spine where your neck meets your skull, we're just going to tip over one vertebrae at a time. As best you can, following it down. And then you're going to start to get into your thoracic spine. I'm just going to tip over very slowly, one vertebrae at a time. And what you want to feel for is the space between your vertebrae in the back. You're going to be opening up that space in the back of your spine, the posterior portion of your spine that faces towards the back. Opening up the spaces between the vertebrae. Opening up those disc spaces. Just gradually coming all the way down. You're going to take your time though. Try and go one vertebra at a time. Try to feel your way down. And you're going to find that once you get all the way down, you're just going to hang. And then let yourself hang. Now, if you want to bend your knees a little bit, that's fine. That can actually help for most people to relax the spine more. Just let the spine go down. Let everything go down, relax. Keep relaxing, keep sinking everything down. Now I want you to cross your hands and keep letting everything sink down. Sink down, your spine elongating. And then I'm going to mirror you. So turning to your right, extending your elbow down. And again, let the whole spine sink down. Now at this point, you're going to feel that stretching go down the sides of the spine. It's probably best to do this with your knees slightly bent. Just make it easier. And then swinging to the other side. Turn your torso so that your elbow is connecting down your shin bone or down your leg. Feel the side of your spine opening up. And come back to the middle. Sink it down, sink down, sink down. Let the arms drop down again. Just keep relaxing, sinking down. Now we're going to come up very slowly, starting from the last vertebrae, the bottom of your spine. And as you come up, you're going to open up the front of your spine so that the front of your spine starts to open and expand upwards, one vertebrae at a time. Just take your time. Keep your legs bent a little bit. Keep everything above that place on your spine where you're working, relaxed and sunk. Don't worry if it's a little achy. Just keep exploring it. Coming up one vertebra at a time. Take your time. Nice and slowly. Take some deep, full breaths. Now sink your sacrum down. Drop your sacrum down. Drop your chin down and lift the back of your head up. And this way you're going to elongate your spine just as you're standing. Bring your feet in just a little bit. Sink your sacrum down. Drop your chin down. Lift the back of the head up. Open the armpits. Now you're standing in Wuji, basic standing Qigong posture. I want you to start taking deep, full breaths. Elongate your spine by letting it sink downwards and then lifting it upwards at the same time. So what the osteopathic doctors in the 1918 flu epidemic noticed was that when patients were getting into serious trouble, the spine, especially the spine of the upper back, had no movement in it. It was kind of seizing up, and the diaphragm was locking into place. And when they got these motions open through their osteopathic treatments, the patients did remarkably better. So we're going to take that as a preventative clue for working on elongating and separating out the vertebrae of the spine so that each vertebra in the spine floats free. And then we're also going to have a little bit more of a specific focus on the spine of the upper back as we go here. So we just went forward and did the spinal opening. Now we're going to go backwards and do the spinal opening. So for most of you, you may need to put your hands on your back as you do this to offer a little bit of support. So what I want you to do is to start to go back, just to your comfort zone. Don't injure yourself doing this, but you're going to go back from the top, right? And as you tip your spine backwards, you're going to open the vertebral gaps in the front of your spine, the part of your spine facing forward to the front of your body, starting at your neck, and just keep rolling over. And when you find some tension or some resistance, just take deep breaths. If you want to support your back, that's fine, but you don't need to. Just keep kind of rolling over. Sink your legs, bend your knees, sink your weight down, and just go over. Now, when you hit a certain point, you'll probably start shaking. Just allow that shaking, that trembling, it's okay. Now we're going to very slowly come back. Start at the bottom of your spine and start to bring the vertebrae back into verticality, coming up the spine, one vertebra at a time. The motion is going to be a little bit smaller here than when you were going forward. That's okay, but just kind of work it one little motion at a time. Now, what you'll notice when you come back to vertical is that you feel really elongated, which is what we're looking for. So now let's start our first moving Qigong, per se. So breathing in, breathing out. Now, the basic function of the breathing in Qigong to start with is we want to breathe with the whole body. So don't worry if your breathing is pretty big, pretty full. Expand your belly. And expand your belly and your solar plexus, and then breathe into the back of your chest. So it's going to be a 3-stage in-breath. Belly expands, solar plexus expands, back of chest expands, and then when you breathe out, just relax. Let your chest sink down, your solar plexus sink. Let your belly relax, expand, and sink. So let's establish full, deep breathing. And now start to enjoy your breathing. Just enjoy this process of connecting to your deep, full breathing. Okay, we're going to go into another movement pattern, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Deep, full in-breath. Sink the belly down. Breathing in, bringing the chi up the spine, over the head, down the front midline of the body. Breathing in, you're going to expand your belly and fill the tube of energy that runs right through the middle of your body. And now drop the chi down to the floor of the pelvis, then up the spine, over the head, and then down the front midline of the body. And as you breathe out, the chi comes down the front midline of the body and also extended out to your hands, so it forms an oval around your body. Breathing in, the tube in the middle of the body, breathing out, the tube in the middle of the body. We call that the chong. Breathing in, the channel up your spine, the dumai. Breathing out, the channel down the front of your body, the renmai. And also out to the hands, the peripheral energy around you, the daimai. What we're doing here is we're opening up the chi channels known as the first ancestry. These are the deep energy channels underneath all of your acupuncture channels and all of your organ systems and so on. So we're opening the pathway for healing, for increasing the flow of energy through the body, and for connecting to the sources of chi that we work with in Qigong. Those sources of chi are the earth, and heaven, the energy from above, and the energies all around us, the energies of nature. Okay, so now we're going to focus a little bit on the organs connected with respiration and the immune system. And in Chinese medical thinking, we consider all of that to be the organ systems of the element of metal. But when we talk about the element of metal, it's also an understanding that the element of metal is at a higher octave level, you might say, that it's also air. So we're working with these energies of metal, these energies of crystallization, and also the energy of air. And so in the human body, you've got three basic areas where you have the metal organs. So firstly, in your head, you're dealing with the sinus cavities, which we're going to get deeper into as we get further into this Qigong process. And then, of course, you've got your bronchial tubes in your chest and your lungs, and in your belly, you've got your large intestine. These are the metal organs in your body. But actually, in addition to that, there's your entire skin, which is also ruled by the metal energy, also has a component to it that has to do with respiration. Now, the metal energy in the human body has to do with receiving, taking in that which is good, and also with eliminating, with releasing. That's why when you breathe in, you're breathing in the oxygen, but you're breathing out the carbon dioxide, but which is a byproduct of your metabolism that needs to be discharged. And with your digestion, the large intestine is eliminating that which you don't need. So there's an aspect of bringing in what's good for you and an aspect of releasing what you don't need. And we want that clear, easy flow with that. Now, what protects you from a virus is an interesting subject, because we now know that viruses live in this kind of cloud around people. It's a cloud of vapor that is not visible to us, but you can measure it. You can actually film it using thermography systems and so on. And The Chinese kind of knew this. The Chinese, back several thousand years ago, were talking about how when epidemic diseases strike and when infectious diseases come, especially the typical respiratory diseases, you know, flus and colds and so on, they come with the wind. Now, what's very interesting to me about that is that it was recently discovered, I think it was 10 years ago, that clouds actually have trillions of bacteria and viruses in them. Yeah. They're massive breeding grounds for bacteria and viruses. So this idea that it's in the air, it's in the wind, it's not inaccurate. Now, in the Chinese view of things, which I really believe to be true from my own lived experience and through watching patients for 30 years, in the Chinese view of things, what protects you from that invasion into your body is actually an electromagnetic energy field around you, which the Chinese call the Wei Qi, or the defensive energy. And that Wei Qi has a kind of electrical component to it, which is directly strengthened through breathing exercises and the practice of Qigong. So that's kind of what we're going to be working with today as we work with these different Qigongs. We're going to focus on Qigong specifically for these three organ systems and the energy of metal. Okay, so let's go with this very classic Qigong taken from the brocades, the 8 brocades. Breathing in and then breathing out. Breathing in and then breathing out. Breathing in, 3-stage in-breath. You're going to imagine that you're breathing white, sparkling energy into your body. Breathing in and then breathing out. Deep in-breath. Now, when you pivot to the right like this, you're going to turn on your right heel and then follow on the ball of the back foot, the left foot. So pivoting on the heel of the leading foot, follow with the ball of the following foot. Your stance is going to be slightly wider than shoulder width. When you breathe, expand your belly, your solar plexus, your chest. Now, in your body, you have acupuncture channels that correspond to these organs of metal. So with this Qigong, you can open up the acupuncture channel of your lung, your sinuses, your large intestine. So what you do is you focus on the tip of your thumb and the tip of your index finger. And then imagine you're breathing in through those two. You're bringing the Qi, and the fingers penetrate as if into the sinus cavities. And then you sink the Qi down. Filling the body. Focus on the Qi flowing from your shoulders down through the tip of the thumb and the index finger. Specifically, you're going to imagine the Qi flowing from right underneath your collarbone, right down through the thumb and the index finger. And then as you open the hand and you breathe in, as if you're drawing white sparkling energy from outside of you into your body, through the thumb and the index finger, and then down through the body. When you come up here, just pause for a second, absorb the energy from the sky, from heaven above you. And again, absorbing sparkling white particles from the air around you. This particular Qigong is really good to do in the morning. And typically, it's best to strengthen the Qi of the lungs in the morning, although don't worry about the fact that it's the evening now, because it's still going to work for you. So now when you're down here, gather white sparkling energy from the crystals and the rocks under the ground. Draw it up through your body down your arm through the thumb and index finger. Now gathering the energy from the clouds, from the air, from the sky, white sparkling particles. Pull them into your head and then have them cascade down through your lungs, through your large intestine. And again, gathering from under the ground, a white stream of energy particles from the rocks and crystals down your arm, through the thumb and index finger, opening the space between the thumb and index finger, which we call the tiger's mouth. Opening the tiger's mouth opens up the acupuncture channels of your sinuses, your lungs, your large intestine. And one little trick you can play with over the next month or two is keep that open. Keep that space between your thumb and your index finger open. All right, good. Well, let's just go right back into a standing position. Deep, full breaths. Sit down a little bit, let your sacrum go down. Drop your chin down, lift the back of the head up. So we're going to go into a little Qigong exercise just to work first with the energy from above you, from the heavenly realms. Just bring it down and bring your hands out to the sides again. So we're reaching up to the sky, and just imagine, or if you're outside, look up, feel the energy from the sky, the clouds. Request that healing energy to come all the way down, right into your sinus cavities. Good. Evidence from China is indicating that the virus first colonizes people inside their sinus cavities in their throat. And from there, once it's colonized, it can start to spread to the rest of the body. So we want to get the sinus cavities in the throat nice and clear. White sparkling energy coming down through your sinus cavities, through your throat. We're just working with that energy from the heavenly realms. This is above you physically, and it's also a spiritual energy. And you can request a column of white sparkling energy to descend on you, to move through all the tissues and organs, bringing healing energy into that whole system. Good. Bring your hands down. Go back into that standing posture. We're going to bring our hands up into this position. This is a very classic posture for standing Qigong. And it's very good for your health and your body, and I teach this a lot, to just stand like this for periods of time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour if you want. I'm not going to focus on that today, but let's just get into this position for a minute or two and feel it. Now put your awareness into your chest, into your lungs. Now I've been suggesting that you breathe into the back of your lungs, because the back of the lungs are normally compressed and they're not breathed into. Very often, especially in the West, people think of breathing exercises and they puff their chest out and they close the back of the chest, and I want to avoid people doing that. But right now we're going to go into a little movement where I really want you to open your whole chest, breathing in. Expand the chest, and then breathing out. Breathing in, expand the chest. And then pause for a minute as your arms are extended out here. Feel yourself reaching out to the horizons And then as you breathe out, feel the energy from the horizons moving in towards you. Breathing in, expand your chest. And let your lungs just absorb all that healing, healthy chi. I want you, as you're breathing, to draw upon the energy from the forests, from the plants. We know that if you walk out into nature in the morning, there's going to be more oxygen. The trees and the plants, everything's producing oxygen. They're breathing out oxygen, so you can breathe it in. The most ancient Chinese depiction of the lungs was of a green bower, a green canopy. So as you breathe, just imagine that you can connect into the forest, to the trees, and that is being drawn towards you is this healing breath chi. Can come into your lungs and your chest. Now, evergreen trees and pine trees have some of the highest levels of this type of healing chi for the lungs. So imagining, feeling yourself connecting into the forest, requesting that healing force to come into you. All right, now let's bring the hands down into this position. When we practice Qigong, we want to strengthen the belly, the lower dantian. And one of the terms for this energy center in the body, this region beneath the navel, is the little heart and the little lungs in Qigong teachings. And it's called that because when the lower dantian, the belly, gets strong, it takes the pressure off the lungs and it takes the pressure off the heart. And that's why Qigong is famous for healing heart disease and lung diseases. So we're just going to strengthen up the lower dantian. Now, surrounding your belly, wrapping around the outside of your belly, is your large intestine organ. And the Chinese feel that this organ, which is, by the way, the second largest organ of gas exchange in your body. That's why the Chinese feel this organ is also connected to the metal chi, or the air chi. So tuning into your large intestine, it's a little bit like if you had a cauldron, if your belly is a cauldron, and the metal that wraps the cauldron, the metal of the cauldron itself is that large intestine energy. Expand your belly to the front and the sides as you breathe in. Expand your belly to the front, the sides, and the back as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, just relax. Expand your belly, front, sides, back, and downwards as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, relax. All right, good. Okay, let's work with another Qigong for the metal chi. So, breathe in and then breathe out. Breathing in, breathe out. Now for this Qigong, the feet are a little bit closer together, so you want to kind of make sure that your shoulder width or even a slightly narrower shoulder width, not too wide apart. The feet are going to be parallel on the inside line of the feet. Deep, full in-breath. Belly, solar plexus, back of chest, and then breathe out. Now this Qigong is remarkably hard to do correctly if you're watching me from the angle you're watching me from. So I'm going to try and give you a few pointers for it. I'm going to mirror you. When your left hand goes out, your weight sinks down onto your right leg. Your right hand comes up, your right hand goes out, the weight sinks down onto the left leg. So you're always going to sink your weight down onto the leg opposite the descending arm. Now notice that even as I'm transferring my weight from side to side and I'm turning my belly, I'm turning my waist, I'm turning my hips, my hand stays right on that front midline, right in front of the body. The head stays also, the head doesn't turn around. Just the weight transfers, the belly sinks down as if the belly was sinking through the leg. Deep, full in breath. And then breathing out. This particular Qigong is called Pi Chuan, which means a heavy axe. Pi is a heavy axe. And so the idea here is that your hand, as it descends, has this metallic crystalline energy, which extends out through the hand. So you bring the Qi up the spine, over your head, and then down into your belly, and the inner hand presses down to the belly. And at the same time as the Qi is descending down into the belly, it's extending out through the hand. Now, at the bottom of this Qigong, gather the Qi from the crystals and rocks under the ground. At the top of this Qigong, request this metallic crystalline energy from above. That crystalline energy from above comes down in the form of the radiance of light and the resonance of sound. Deep, full breaths. Gathering the energy from under the ground. Pause for a second. The radiance of light, sparkling energy from above you coming down. All right, good. So get a chair. Hey, Justin, could you give me a time check? Just kind of, you can look at my phone right there and figure out the time for me. Right here. 7:30? 7:38, great. Just want to get a sense of where we're at. Okay, we're going to do some seated meditation for 5 or 10 minutes, then we may go back to doing some moving meditations. So rest your hands on your knees and touch your thumb to your index finger. Take a few deep breaths and just relax. Now just follow your breath. See if you can feel into your breath as a whole body phenomenon. Now start to consciously take deep, full breaths, expanding your body as you breathe. Expand everything as you breathe in. And then let your chest sink and relax, your solar plexus sink, your belly expand, sink and relax as you breathe out. Now continue breathing with this deep, full style of breathing. Sit a little bit on the edge of the chair. Keep the armpits open. Now I want you to say hi to your breath, like as if it's a friend that you're meeting, and you're like, hi. Of course, our breath is taken for granted. But the breath is a very interesting phenomenon in the body. It's a very interesting power, because breath has an innate connection to spirit. And inside the breath is something that in some traditions is called the breath inside the breath. And it's just a feeling inside your breathing of a sort of perpetual presence, like a tube of energy inside your breathing. And breath is actually a type of power that is gifted to humans. The breath inside the breath and the breath inside the breath inside the breath exists before you were born, and actually is what you sort of follow your way into when you die. Now, throughout the course of human history, there have been thousands, maybe tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of spiritual masters and yogi practitioners who have focused on working with the breath for healing, working with the breath for awareness. And so, when you start to relate to your breath like a gift that is being lent to you for a while, then you can request to receive from your breathing process some of the spiritual benefits of an awakened breathing process. One of the benefits of waking up, the healing force and power inherent in the breath, is that just by requesting it, that can come into you. And when it comes into you, the breath starts to fill your electromagnetic vortex, your field of energy, your auric field around you. And when the breath starts to fill that auric field, stuff can't very easily get in. That virus cloud is going to have less ability to chop into you, to get into your system. So I want you to, as you're sitting here, I want you to feel your way into this energy field around you. It's kind of it's like you're sitting inside a big egg, a big oval of energies. And all those fields of energy can be filled with the breath. And you can request the healing force of the breath and the spiritual masters that still exist and reside and can come into the breath to be present for you. It's important, I think, to remember the example of Wim Hof. This is a man who studied breathing techniques and then climbed to the top of Mount Everest just wearing a pair of shorts. He's, got 9 world records. Has done many things to demonstrate the power of the breath. You can access this. And I want you to access this every day. Okay, let's move the chairs out of the way. We're going to go back into another moving exercise. So we're going to do a moving exercise for the large intestine energy and for the belly. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Now, you're going down, you're drawing that crystalline chi from the ground, rolling it through your belly, send it out through the other leg. Breathe it in, breathe it out. You're going to keep the tiger's mouth, that's the space between the thumb and the index finger, open. Now, the point about practicing Qigong every day is that even if you do get the virus, you just fight it off. It's just another cold, it's just another flu. Your system's going to bounce it off. It's just going to process through you. You'll be in a much better place to deal with it. Deep, full breath. Breathe out. Deep, full breath. Breathe out. Deep, full breath from under the ground, up, around your belly, and then down through your foot, down into the earth again. And pause. Bring your hands out in front of you. Breathe in, breathe out. See if you can feel for something. Relax your shoulders, bend your knees slightly, open the armpits, soften the shoulders, open the tiger's mouth, expand the belly as you breathe, elongate the spine as you breathe so that everything in your body is rhythmically expanding and contracting. Now see if you can feel for the energy between your belly and your hands. Keep relaxing. As you breathe out, relax your shoulders. Feel the energy wave moving through your hands. Now we're just going to go into standing very still and very quiet. Make your breath very quiet. No strain, make it easy, but very quiet. Notice how quiet it gets inside you. Breathe so you cannot hear your breathing and listen into that breathing. All right, now we're going to do the same Qigong going the other direction. Breathing in. Now breathing normal, deep, full breaths again. Gather the chi from under the ground, bring it up through the legs, through the belly, around the belly, down. Your hands are energetically massaging around your large intestine, but actually also just your whole belly. Requesting that crystalline energy of the earth to quickly respond to you, to allow you to draw some of that chi up into your body, move it through your body for your own healing, store some of it for your own strengthening. All right, good. So in Chinese thinking, in order to really strengthen the lungs, you got to strengthen some other organs too. So in Chinese, there's a couple of organs we really want to especially focus on for this. And the first one is going to be the kidney, the kidneys. In Chinese medical thinking, we say shenzang na qi, which means that the kidney organs grasp the qi. And this is used in relationship to taking a deep breath. That when you take a deep breath in, it's your kidneys, or the energy field of your kidneys, that grasps the breath chi and pulls it down through your body. So we're going to do a little Qigong exercise to connect the lungs and the kidneys. Breathing in, and then breathing out. So I'm going to stand so that you can see how I'm doing this here. As I breathe in, my weight's going to come forward a little bit. And as I breathe out, I'm going to just sit back. Breathing in. Bring the elbows back. The weight's going to come forward a little bit. And then breathing out, you're going to push back into your lumbar spine. Push gently back into your kidneys. Now, when we want to work with the kidneys, we want to imagine and feel our way into a blue color. And where are the kidneys? Well, the kidneys are going to be right where your elbows come to. In fact, as you pull your elbows back, you're going to brush against an acupuncture point called Jingmen, which is the gateway to the kidneys. Just on the side of the ribs. And the kidneys are going to be right at that level, in your back, but just right at the level of your solar plexus, a little bit above the navel region or just at the navel region. You're going to strengthen up the kidney chi. Let the kidneys grasp that chi. Good. Now put your hands on your kidneys. You're going to open them like this, so that the back of your hands and the tiger's mouth resting up against the kidneys. Sit down just a little bit. Take a deep in-breath. As you work with the kidneys, it may generate saliva in your mouth. If it does so, just swallow it. And breathe into the kidneys. Blue color, water energy. It generates a little bit of saliva in the mouth. Swallow it. Breathe out. In Chinese medical thinking, all your organs depend upon the strength of your kidney chi. All right, good. There's another organ system that we really want to work with for the health of the lungs, and that is your spleen and stomach. The spleen energy is the digestion energy, and is often worked with a yellow color, yellow golden color. And in Chinese medical thinking, the spleen stomach energy is the mother of the lungs. In other words, your lungs can't really feel sort of fully nourished and strong and full and settled if they're not being fed energy from your digestive system, basically. So we're going to do another Qigong from the 8 Brocade series. This is the third one of the 8 Brocades to work with the spleen and stomach chi. This is also a very good lung Qigong. And this is called Shuang Shou Li Kai Jiao Wei Pi Wei. My pronunciation is probably off. And then breathing out. So reaching down, drawing chi up the inside of the legs, across the hips to the side of the ribs, and then breathe out, sink this golden yellow energy down into your belly. Now breathing in, whole side of your body opening up, golden yellow energy, stretching your arms and legs, and then breathing out, let the chi come down through the side of your body corresponding to the descending hand. Bring the chi up the inside of the legs to the outside of the ribs, down to your navel. This is your spleen channel. Through the middle of your body, all the way up. Now a ball of sunlight comes down from your upraised hand, descends through the inside of the side of the body corresponding to your descending hand. Ball of sunlight pouring through the side of your body corresponding to that descending hand. That is your stomach acupuncture channel. Now we're going to add a little bit of a variation into this. Breathing in. And now pivot, breathe out. Pivot back, breathing in. And breathe out, ball of sunlight pouring down through the side of the body, passing through all the internal organs. Light. And pivoting, let that rolling happen up through your spine. Pivoting, breathing out, breathing in. All right, so now just bring the hands down in front of your belly. We're just going to rest the hands just around the level of your navel. Relax your body, let it sink down. Deep, full breaths. Now see what it's like to feel your breath moving down through your thumbs. We're going to bring the hands up just a little bit more, but sink the thumbs down. Relax your shoulders. Breathe in through the tip of your thumbs. Breathe out through the tip of your thumbs. Now we're going to do the same thing with the index fingers. Drop the index finger down. Breathe in through your index fingers. Breathe out through the tip of your index finger. And when you feel the tips of the fingers like this, you want to imagine and feel a little gateway open, a little doorway. It opens and the chi can just flow through. It's kind of very precise feeling, middle fingers. This precise feeling of the chi flowing through the fingers is very connected to the metal chi. This is the kind of chi that we work with when strengthening the lung system. Ring fingers. Breathe through the tip of the finger. So you can feel the chi going past the finger. Little fingers. All right, good. Get a chair again. Sit towards the front of the chair. If that gets too tiring for you, you can sit back, of course, but it's good to do that. Keep the energy flowing freely through the pelvic floor and keep the armpits slightly open. So people often get infections in their lungs when they feel sadness, regret, remorse, and sadness, regret, and remorse, and loss, grief, the grief of loss. Keep taking deep, full breaths into your chest. And what is the posture of sadness? Go ahead and find it. It's your lungs have collapsed down in your shoulders, and then the head sort of drops forward. What is the posture of remorse? You know you've done something that wasn't cool, wasn't right, remorse energy, right? What you'll notice about these emotions is that they very much involve a collapsing inwards, right? So here's what we're going to do. Without getting too involved and too much into process, without actually needing to get at all into process, we're just going to open up a space in time, right here, right now, in this space-time where you are and where I am, where whatever lessons you've needed to learn from any sadness or grief or feeling of pain, of loss that you've been carrying, you can absorb those lessons and you can release the energy, release the emotion or the pattern of the emotion as it has affected your body-mind. So what I want you to do is I want you to sit upright, and I want you to fill yourself with the redemptive emotion of the lung system, which is righteousness. And I don't mean righteousness in the judgy sense of the word. It's righteousness like you are embodying what is true, what is just, what is wholesome, and what is good. That is righteous energy. And the Chinese believe the righteous energy functions good health. They call it the Zhengqi. So just as you're sitting, start to embody that righteousness that embodies in you and adhering to the truth. Truth and the intuition of truth, the discrimination inside of yourself of what is true and what is not true, is a function of metal in Chinese thinking. So I want you to feel as if coming from above you, the sword of truth, coming from above you, descending right through you, as who you are, as part of that wisdom faculty, that your discrimination, your wisdom can know the truth, can attune to it, and then find the posture inside your body, find the movement or the posture to actually have that as an embodiment. Now I want you to create an imagining of yourself this time next week. Just pop yourself forward a week and see yourself embodying. You're walking down the street, maybe not the street, maybe nature, but you're walking in nature or you're somewhere you like, and see yourself embodying, holding that energy. Posture and the lung qi are very interconnected. And posture and this energy, this righteous energy, are very interconnected. And we want to embody that. And you don't really need to study how to. You just have to intend it and decide it. The power of attitude to strengthen immunity is astonishing, is mind-blowing. Now think about the sadnesses in your life. Just for a minute, just go back into like, okay, you've had things that, well, yeah, sad things happened. And all of that sadness, all of that grief, and all of that sadness is teaching you about your heart. It's teaching you your humanness. And you absorb the lesson of it. It generates compassion. It generates humility. It generates a yearning for the spiritual realms and a sort of intuition of the spiritual realms too. In Chinese thinking, we're all connected to our ancestors. And there's a lot of love flowing back and forth between us and our ancestors. And our ancestors come into us through our chest. And also in the shoulder blades. We've got these zones where we connect to what's called the Ancestor Chi, the Zong Chi. So in order to have balanced and healthy lungs, balanced and healthy metal Chi, we want to be in a good alignment with the ancestors. Now, which ancestors am I talking about? Because I'm not talking about that great-granddad of yours who was a drunkard all his life or something, and may have a negative impact or influence. I'm talking about your ancestors that had their stuff worked out, because we all have them in our lineage, many, many, many of them. And even some of the rascals are positive influences, but I want you to access the positive influence of your ancestors. So many people lived, struggled, died to get you where you are. Hundreds, thousands of them. Now, living in the righteous energy honors the ancestors and actually helps them too. As part of our connection, we're all in an interrelated state with our ancestors. And with, as they say in the Native American traditions, all our relations. Right? That's our ancestors and it's everything to all our relations. In Chinese medicine, it is said that the lung qi rules the 100 vessels and it rules the 100 meetings. So that this is the area of the chest is where all of these interconnections come in. And you can be in right relationship with that through posture, breath, intention, mindset, prayer. All right, let's do another moving Qigong. Can you give me a time check, Justin? Tell me the time. Well, set it up to display so I can see it. That would be helpful, actually. Thanks a lot. I gotta look at the time. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes. I don't know if Zoom things end exactly when you say they'll end. Do they just cut off, do you know? Or can you just keep going? Because you know me, I might just keep going. So this is cloud hands. This is a wonderful Qigong exercise, of course, adapted and used in all of the Tai Chi forms, just as were several of the other Qigongs from the 8 brigades that we did today. So I want you to imagine and feel as you're moving that you're moving with the energy of clouds moving through your body. Now your breath is soft. Don't strain for breathing. Breathe in as often as you need to, but just keep your breath, your intention, and your energy field soft. As if this soft cloud energy is starting to fill the tissues of your whole body. So the upper hand, the palm of the hand, sort of points in towards the mouth. The lower hand, the thumb, is going to point to the belly. And then the two hands. When you come, transfer your weight, then the elbows roll in, the hands change. Now the elbows are outwards, transfer the weight, and they roll in. Even the energy under the ground is now billowing and soft, moving through you. Very soft, easy, comfortable. Now, I want you to create a routine for your Qigong practice. And Qigong works beautifully if you practice it every day. Really, there's a reason. The Qi in your body moves in a 24-hour cycle. So if you practice Qigong every day, you take a little bit of that Qi and you start to strengthen it, you start to pull it into your body from earth, from heaven, from the environment, and that extra charge of Qi from your Qigong practice starts to pack into your body, and it dilates the energy channels, and then after a while it starts to sink into the organs and the different tissues, and finally into the bones and the marrow and so on. But that only works if you practice every day, because if you practice every day, you get this little bit of extra. It's like putting a little bit of money in the bank every day. It builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up, and then your Qi is stronger. So traditionally we do like, okay, you do a 100-day practice and just kind of build it up and build it up. It doesn't work as well if you only practice once a week or if you only practice twice a week. That doesn't mean it doesn't have benefits, but I really want to encourage you to find a daily rhythm of practice. I'm going to just go through a little review, the last 10 minutes, of what we did today. What the heck did we do today? Help. What did we start with? So I always want to review so you don't have to watch the whole thing again. I have these two guys in the back and they're trying to show me what we started with because I can't remember. What did we start with? Oh, yeah, we started with Qigong strokes his beard. Thank you, Justin. So this was the first thing we started with. This is just to kind of get your spine opened up. Hang on, we started with some spinal stretchers, remember that? We started with a swing. Swings are good to start a Qigong set with. Don't turn your head, keep your head looking straight forward, transfer your weight. Swings are good to start a Qigong set with because they help to discharge the energy of like that you're carrying around from, you know, wherever it is, if you're at home these days, from whatever sort of stresses there might be there and so on, just to kind of discharge stuff. And it's also going to help to mobilize the spine. And then we did some forward position like this, just kind of stretch out the spine and extend it forward, hang out there for a little bit. And then we did our spinal stretch, where you're simply going down from the top all the way down, 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 but take a couple of minutes to do this. And then you fold the arms, you swing to the side, swing to the other side. And again, take quite a few minutes to do this, drop down again, and then slowly coming up. As you come up, you open up the front of the vertebrae from the bottom upwards. As you go down, you open up the back of the vertebrae from the top downwards. And then we went back, opening up the front of the vertebrae, and then coming back, zipping up the back, opening the back of the vertebrae. And then you'll feel your whole spine sort of energized and opened. Then we did this, right? Qigong strokes his beard, get things moving. And then we went into the first of the 8 extraordinary channel, Qigongs, on the first of the 8 brocades. And this is where you're opening up the 4 ancestry channels. So just to review, the first in-breath and out-breath, you're opening up the tube of energy in your body, sinking it down, and then up the spine, and then down the front midline, and also out to your hands, creating an oval of energy that goes under the ground, goes above your head. All right, good. I'm not sure what we did after that. No, not yet. That's way later. Next thing we did was we really started to get into this basic lung Qigong, which is the second of the 8 brocades. If you want to watch some of these in another setting, you can go to my YouTube channel, Adam Atman on YouTube, and find the 8 brocades. You'll find a bunch of these. And now this one, remember, you're pulling in white sparkling energy. You're opening up the thumb and the large intestine, drawing the chi up to the sinus cavities, sinking it through the lungs down into the belly, reaching down, drawing white crystalline energy from under the ground, sending it down the lung channel from underneath the collarbone out through the thumb and index finger, and then up from thumb and index finger, sinus cavities, down. White sparkling energy the whole time. 3-stage in-breath, belly, solar plexus, back of chest. I don't know what we did next. Just watch the replay. I'll post it. I don't want to just keep reviewing it all. You know what we didn't do? We didn't do the specific sinus ones. Next time, I got more for you. I've got a very specific Qigong for each of the sinus cavities. It's really a lot of fun. But we're not going to do it now. We'll do it another time. And I'm going to do more of this Zoom thing. Thank you, Justin, for helping me get it set up and figuring it out. Thank you, Kelly, for being here. I'm going to do more of the Zoom thing on Monday night at 7 p.m. I'm going to do an hour-and-a-half lecture on herbs and supplements for what afflicts us. Yeah, that should be pretty interesting. Really looking forward to that. And then I'll keep doing these Qigong classes once a week for people. We'll see how it develops. Okay, I think I'm out of time. Can you give me a time check? I need to get a clock set up here so I can more easily track things. Oh, not even done yet. Let's sit and meditate for a few minutes. Next time I'll have a clock back there because otherwise it just throws my brain off. Okay, we're going to do one last little Qigong meditation process here. Take a deep breath in, fill your lungs, fill them to the front, the sides, the back. And then as you breathe out, let the lungs sink and let the chi from the lungs sink downwards. Now, often in Qigong practice, we don't expand the front of the lungs, but with this exercise, we're going to. Deep in-breath, fill the lungs to the front, the sides, the back, and then sink your chest downwards. When you breathe out, just let the chest sink down. You do that 5 or 6 times. Now we're going to work with the belly. So forget about your chest, just breathe into your belly. Let the belly expand to the front as you breathe in, Breathe out, just relax. Let the belly expand to the front and the sides. And breathe out, relax. Let the belly expand front, sides, and back. And breathe out, relax. Now let the belly expand front, sides, back, downwards into your pelvic cavity. And breathe out, relax. Now as you expand the belly, as you breathe in, open your hands and your feet. Feel the chi extending to your hands and your feet. Now, as you take a deep in-breath, expand your belly, I want you to imagine that the energy extends straight out in front of your belly, like a disc or a sphere of energy out in front of you. Just go out 2-3 feet. Take a deep in-breath. Boom. Connect out 2-3 feet in front of you. Don't think about it. Don't make it difficult. Keep expanding the belly as you breathe in. Now do this to the sides. Breathe in, expand the chi out, 2 spheres or discs right out to the sides, a few feet out off the sides of your belly. Now let's do that straight into the back. Deep in-breath, expand your whole belly like a sphere inside your body, and then extend the energy straight out behind you. Go out 3 or 4 feet behind you. A disc of energy or a sphere of energy. And now go straight down. Deep in-breath, expand your belly. Extend the chi down in a disc down below you, or a sphere. Now take a deep in-breath and send that disc or sphere of energy 3 or 4 feet out in front of your chest. Next breath, go off to the sides of your shoulders, 3 or 4 feet out to the sides. Expand your belly and your chest. Send that energy out. And then straight behind your chest. Keep taking full breaths. Now, send that disc of energy out in front of your neck and throat. You breathe in, you send it out, do that, you relax. Now off to the sides of your neck. Now the back of your neck. And now right above your head. A disc or sphere of energy. Now right under the soles of your feet. 2 of them, 1 under each foot. Go down a few feet. Good. Now when you create these discs around you, you can create them around the belly, the chest, and the head, your hands, your feet. You can imagine in the center of each disc is a protective being. Now I don't know what your protective beings look like or feel like, but it's quite traditional in China to use various kind of creatures that look like lions. They have various mythological creatures. You know, I don't know, yours might look like something quite different. Could be like, you know, Superman or Wonder Woman or giant rat. I don't know. But explore with your imagination, with your feeling. Are there any protector beings, animals, figures, deities? And pull them into those discs or those spheres, put them around you. This is another methodology of creating the Wei Qi, the protector field of influence. The Chinese character for this protective qi that protects you from infection and invasion is very interesting. It's a depiction of the leather of a shield being stretched tight. Okay? That's the actual sort of sense of protection. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. This is my first time doing Zoom. I apologize if it wasn't good. And I'll be back Monday at 7 p.m. for herbs and supplements, and next Thursday we'll do Qigong again. Okay.